Organising an event for the Festival of British Archaeology can seem like quite a daunting task. Before I start to organise an event, I ask myself a series of very important questions. Where and why? What and why? Who and why? And when? So lots of W's there. Right, where? Well, you need to identify where you're going to have your event, obviously. Is this site specific? Can you tell a story? Is there lots of accessibility? Is it a well-known site? Are there things that you can put into place to make it more accessible for a wider audience? For instance, a shuttle bus if it's out of the way. So when you've established where you're going to hold your event, you need to start risk assessing. Risk assessing is so important right at the very beginning, so nothing pops out of the woodwork later on. So you've thought about where you're going to have the event. Now you need to think about what you're going to do whilst you're there. What kind of event is it going to be? Have you got a hook line to draw people in? Can you make it more exciting? Can you tell people a story but make it more inclusive for everybody else? So for instance, you've got a target audience that might already be interested in archaeology, but how can you do things to draw in extra people, the people that just want to come along for a day, so that you can tell your story to a wider audience? You also need to think about things like how you're going to fund your event. I always find it fantastic that you can talk to people and people will offer their time, their expertise. So even if you've got not much money at all to put on an event, you can do it because people are so generous. When you're thinking about what to do as well, it's very good to go out into the community and speak to people that live in the surrounding area to find out what they want to see happen there. People will come up with some fantastic ideas. So what's your event going to be about? What story are you going to tell? How can you tell it in a diverse way to attract a larger audience base? If the story covers lots of different periods or is about techniques, then how can you aim to get across the information in a fun and exciting way without it becoming too vague? For example, if you need to get a living history group in, can they tell your story in a very accurate way but make it fun with lots of audience participation? Or if you want to give a talk or a tour, is there elements that you can add to that to draw in a wider audience? For instance, bring a finds handling collection with you, or have some living history costumes that people can dress up in, the children can dress up in, or have some sort of activities that mix in with your tour, that you can have a stopping place where somebody's giving a demonstration or you can actually participate in an activity. That brings me on to discussing who. Who is your target audience? Is there anything that you can put in place to expand that audience to make it more inclusive? One of the aims of the Festival of British Archaeology is to make archaeology and heritage accessible to all, so everybody can enjoy it and everybody can learn something about their own past. So really, my tips, and trying to keep this very brief, is a series of questions right at the beginning. When you've asked yourself those questions, try and think about marketing. Risk assess everything right at the very beginning, because things will pop up, things will occur. And also, try and visualise what you want the event to look like. It's like as a form of art. It's like painting a picture in your head and then putting things in place to make it become a reality. Always evaluate at the end of the event as well, because there's always things you can do better.